Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Lindsay and I am a mama to a 3-month-old baby girl. If you are new here, please hit that red subscribe button down below and give this video a like. But today's video is going to be on my pumping journey and everything that has led up to that, because I know a lot of you are curious about what has been going on, so I thought that I would explain. So, like I said, my daughter's 3 months old. She was born in October of 2022, and I had the desire to breastfeed her throughout my entire pregnancy. I've wanted to breastfeed my children ever since I have wanted kids. So like I said, had that desire, and when she was born, she wouldn't latch, and she lost not a lot of weight, a little bit more weight than they would like after birth. So I had pumped colostrum, luckily, and I had it in my freezer at home, and my in-laws ran home and grabbed my colostrum, and we fed her colostrum because she, like I said, she wouldn't latch correctly. And so I thought that she would be fine after that, as long as it was just me and her getting used to it. But at the end of our hospital stay, she still hadn't gained the amount they wanted her to back. So I started to have to supplement with formula. The hospital sent me home with formula, which I did cry about. I have no shame towards formula feeding mamas. I just really had the desire to breastfeed, so I was very disappointed that I had to supplement, just because I had been getting so much colostrum and I had been leaking since I was like 30 weeks pregnant. So it was just kind of frustrating that I thought that it would be kind of a breeze, and it didn't end up being easy at all. So I cried, and the nurse was like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on? What's going through your head?" And I pretty much just told her that I was sad that I wasn't able to breastfeed, and I was extremely exhausted. So everything is more catastrophic when you are exhausted. And her being my first baby, I was really open-minded when it came to the hospital, but when it came to breastfeeding, like, I was going to breastfeed her. Like, that's all I was going to do. And I really didn't want to supplement or formula feed, just because I really wanted to breastfeed. So this nurse felt bad for me, and she sent me home with more formula, she said, than they were supposed to, like a lot more. But she's like, "I just feel bad for you. Like, this should get you through the weekend." We went home on a Friday night. So she told us to feed our daughter and then just put it back in the fridge and then warm it up the next time she wanted to eat, which now I know you're not supposed to do. Yeah, if you let them eat off of a bottle, you're not supposed to have them eat off of it if it's been an hour since they ate from it. So just so you know, and you don't make the mistake like I did, because I had no idea. She's fine, but obviously you're not supposed to do that. So learn from my mistakes. So we had these like pre-made little formula bottles for the weekend. They did last us through the weekend, and luckily I had signed up for like Enfamil's like registry thing, so they sent me 2 cans of formula, and so we used that. We had the NeuroPro Gentle Ease, which she would eat on its own. It's in a purple can. And they gave us the regular NeuroPro whatever, and it's in a yellow can, and it did not settle with her. She would only drink that one if it was mixed with breast milk. So I was pumping throughout this time, trying to get my milk to come in, because that's another thing. My milk wasn't coming in, and she wasn't latching to help it come in. So I was pumping for like 2 weeks to get my milk to come in, and I then had a lactation appointment because I was getting a lot of milk. I would probably get like 5 to 8 ounces within 10 minutes, which I know is a lot, and I probably had a slight oversupply. But the lactation consultant told me to stop pumping as often, like getting rid of one of the middle of the night pumps, just so that I didn't get a oversupply and so that I didn't get mastitis. And so I did. I cut back pumping, not a whole ton, maybe 2 pumping sessions a day, and my supply drastically dropped, and it kind of came up and it'd go down, and it'd come up and go down, and it'd come up and go down. So I was beyond frustrated. I have been like having to supplement with these 2 cans of formula because sometimes my milk's in, sometimes my milk's not in, and it was just frustrating. And my daughter increasingly obviously drinks more, and so I was never able to like keep up with her, so I just supplement 1 ounce or 2 ounces of formula from in her bottles in comparison to my breast milk. And this, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I think it was actually like a month, we tried to breastfeed. I would get a nipple shield, I would try to breastfeed her, she wouldn't latch, she was so frustrated. She would like open her mouth and like wiggle her head really fast back and forth because she was so frustrated with the fact that she couldn't latch. And so that would frustrate me, it'd frustrate her. Every time I'd get the nipple shield on, she'd knock it off, and it was just so frustrating. So after talking to my husband and a couple other people that I trust, I decided just to exclusively pump, because if what I could give her out of my body is best, I wanted to do my best in trying. And since I wasn't going to be breastfeeding, I wanted to put in the effort to try my best, which I agree, fed is best, do not get me wrong, but I just wanted to give my daughter what I had, and that's what I did. So I've been pumping this whole time for the whole 3 months, and at 6 weeks I got put on birth control at my request. And I did the mini pill, which is estrogen free, which you're supposed to not have as like I don't know, it's not supposed to affect your milk supply, but it definitely has affected mine. My milk supply dropped to almost nothing afterwards, so I tried to drink milk tea, like mother's milk tea. I tried to hydrate majorly, like extra. I tried liquid IV, I tried body armor, I tried a little bit of everything to try to get my milk supply to come back up, and it did come back up. I was getting like 4 ounces on each side in the morning and like 2 to 3 at night, and I'd pump in the middle of the day and get like 1, maybe 2 from each side. And in the last week or so, it dropped to 3 ounces on each side in the morning, and now I'm just getting 2 ounces every time I pump. I just get 2 ounces from each side, which is pretty frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. I try to do 2 ounces of breast milk in each bottle that I give her, and that is not nearly enough. I get about like 8 ounces, maybe if I'm lucky 10 ounces of milk a day, and it's just super frustrating. I did stop pumping in the middle of the day just because I was getting like half an ounce, and I just didn't feel like it was worth it, because it's mentally draining to pump and just to go sit down and pump and not get anything. It's just too much. So I just pump in the morning and in the evening, which I know affects your milk supply, but it was already so low in the first place, it hasn't affected it much. And so now I've been supplementing this whole time with formula, and we just recently switched her formula, which she's still getting used to it, which is totally fine, but it works better for her, I believe. We're still getting used to it, like I said. I just can't find the formula that we had her on, so I'm doing the next best thing. I had her on the Infamil, Gentle-Ease, NeuroPro, whatever that I talked about in the beginning of the video, and now I can't find it at Costco. It's sold out everywhere, unless you want to pay like $45 for a little can, so I'm not about that. So I got the next closest thing that I could find that was actually affordable, and we're just putting probiotics in her bottles and stuff to make up for the fact that it doesn't have those properties in it like the NeuroPro one does, which, like I said, is totally fine. Fed is best. I'm so grateful that formula is a thing and that I can supplement because my milk supply has never been great. And I also just wanted to say that if you are a mama like me that has either quit breastfeeding, quit pumping because it's just too mentally draining, or it's just not worth it to you to pump or to breastfeed because it's just too much, I totally get it. It's hard. And it's really hard, especially when you're not getting enough to feed your child. It feels kind of worthless. And I'm not gonna lie, I have felt worthless and kind of been like, well, why am I even doing this? And I have decided to keep pumping until my supply drops to like 1 ounce every time I pump on each side, because I'm like, that at that point it's not worth sitting down for 20 minutes to a half hour to pump. And so that's where I'm at. I get about 2 ounces per pumping session, and my baby's happy and fed, and that's all that I can ask for. And you are enough, no matter if you're formula feeding, breastfeeding, pumping, or whatever, which combination that you're doing that, you are enough and your baby loves you. And that is something that I have come to terms with, that sometimes plans change and it may be the plans that you were most set on, but you know, as long as your kid is fed, it'll be okay. And it's not worth your mental health to, like, when I was breastfeeding, it was just so hard. I'd cry like every time I tried to feed her. It was just so hard. So that's why I decided just to pump. And it is more time consuming because you have to pump, you have to warm up the bottles, you have to wash the bottles, you have to always be ahead of the game, especially when I was able to keep up with her a little bit. I always had to be pumping before she was going to be eating. So I'd pump for 20 minutes to a half hour, and then I'd feed her for 20 minutes to a half hour. So it was just frustrating because you're sitting there for 40-ish or more minutes feeding this baby or trying to feed this baby, and then you have to get up, wash the bottles, and you have to have a bottle warmer, and you have to have so many other things that you wouldn't if you were just breastfeeding. But I just wanted to say that, like I said, you're enough. It's not your fault. As long as your baby's fed, it is okay. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something from it. And if you have any questions for me or suggestions, I guess, please leave them down in the comments. I'm up for anything. I really need some support. But if you are a pumping mama like me, let's be friends. Comment down below that you want to be friends with me. But I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.